So let's talk about the the biggest project so far this year, and that is this thing here, the mudroom. We're calling it a mudroom, and we're using it as a mudroom at the moment for changing boots and stuff. But I think it's more going to be a toilet block slash wet room, cleaning room, and we might make a mudroom at the front. So I'll put some pictures up while I'm talking of how it used to look when we bought the place. It was basically a wreck. There was this roof that was barely standing up, being supported by rotted beams, no doors, no walls. Like you would just walk in through the front here on rotted planks into what was the kitchen door. What is the kitchen door? And the kitchen door would be your barrier to the outside world. I don't think this is as old. The original extension was as old as the cabin itself. Like when I removed it, I could see signs of it had been added on later. But I wanted to add it again because it adds space. So I finished the staircase, and I did the under the staircase storage. We wanted to get that done so we could use the upstairs bedroom, as I mentioned in that video. Because Wesley couldn't get up the stairs that were there before. So I was finishing the staircase, and I realised that I was putting off the mudroom because it seemed like such a big project. With the philosophy with this place is to try and do the most annoying things first, and if it scares me, even more so. So I realised I was faffing about, and I was putting it off. So as soon as I realised that, I took a crowbar and a saw and just ripped the outside out down. So I was on top of the old thing that was there, and it was the same roofing as is on the roof now. It's like a tin style metal plate on top of tar, and then just wood beams underneath. So I was on top of that and I was ripping them off, and I took the last bit of sheet metal off, the tin roofing off, and the whole thing started to wobble. I realised that it was probably the roof holding it up as much as the rest was holding the roof up, so I got down really quick and I ripped the whole thing off. A lot of that wood is super rotten, so I burnt it in the summer, but quite a bit of it was okay to refurbish, so I've stored it and I'm going to be using it for things like countertops and whatnot. Anyway, so I dug it all out, and then the floorboards at the bottom, I took all of those off, those 2 layers of them down here, and there was, I think, over 100 years worth of sawdust and just random crap in there. We found things like glass bottles, boots, horseshoes, and then I dug it all out, took everything out, and I wanted to start from scratch. And I found that there was 2 really big, over here by the kitchen door, there was 2 really big granite slabs as steps, so they would have been the original steps into the cabin. So once I cleared it all out, I did a lot of YouTubing on how to build an extension with timber frame. So what they do in Sweden, especially for torp, which is like cottage, is they have a thing called torpgrund, especially in Småland, and it's like, instead of doing concrete foundations, they do, because the bedrock's all granite, they do granite foundations, and they build up rocks underneath. So once I dug all of the sawdust and the old dirt and everything out, I saw that there was lots of really solid granite bedrock and like foundation laid rocks. So what I did was I laid a layer of anti-weed sheet on top of that, and then built a framework out of treated wood with like down pillars onto all of the many granite rocks that were down there. So it was really solid base, I hope. Hopefully there's some pictures of that. once I'd done that, I built the frame, and then I put a house wrapping underneath, which is it's a semi-permeable membrane, and that means that it'll let moisture out, but it won't let moisture in, so it waterproofs the bottom. And there's a line of like rocks and concrete around the bottom anyway, so the inside isn't really going to get touched by the elements, but I thought it was best to seal the bottom. Then I put in between the beams, I put a layer of insulated polystyrene. Try and keep your feet warm, even though it does still get really cold in there. Then just standard planks on the top. The thing you have to realize about this is, until recently when I got the better generator, I haven't been able to use my circular saw, so all of this was done with one power drill, which I recharged off the solar panels, and yeah, a hand saw and a hand hammer and nails and screws. So it took a lot of work. I got a bad elbow from doing so much sawing and hammering that I wasn't used to, haven't done it in years. That's cold. So yeah, so I built the platform, and I put the wood paneling down, and then I had to learn how to do studded walls. And I'd done some building when I was younger with my parents, but I'd never built anything by myself. So I worked out how to build the studded walls and put the window frames in, and like do the supporting struts and the king struts and all that sort of stuff, and the load bearing top beams. And I built all 3 sides, put them up. I built the frame walls, and then I put the roof beams on. So the roof, the whole thing is the same dimensions exactly as the previous extension. Even the roof angle and everything is the same. So there's a beam across the top that was supporting the top of the old roof, and the new roof beams are laying on that, bracketed to the wall properly. I doubled up the 2x4s because I was worried about snow build-up on top. So you have to build, in Sweden you have to build it to worry about, like, to be able to support the snow. So I put the roof on, and then I got the standard planking. It's like 21 centimeter wide planking, and did all the walls and did all the roof with that. I think if I was going to do it again, I would use some sort of MDF or like waterproof fiberboard, just because it would be a lot easier. It took me ages to cut all of those to length and measure them for the sides. And then I wrapped it in the same house wrap that I put on the bottom, so it lets moisture out but no moisture in, so it was watertight. Oh, and I put felt on the roof as well. I made the window holes a bit bigger. I was planning on putting, so the cabin has some old inside windows that are supposed to be put in winter, and it puts like an air barrier in between. Helps insulate the windows. So I was thinking about reusing them with some hinges and making my own windows, making window frames. Then I realized that I'd made the window holes too small for what I had. I measured them off the kitchen window, but for some reason the other windows are bigger, and we didn't have any of the window panels for the kitchen window. So I didn't have any windows that I could use. So I looked on Bauhaus, and I got the cheapest windows I could get. So this is the cheap big window, this one here, and then there's 2 smaller windows, and I had to bring the frames in. And you'll see on the pictures when 2 friends of mine came over to help me put the windows in, that I had to build down and like resize the windows, so there's wedges in there. It's solid, but yeah, so that was one thing I got wrong. So I left, that's how it was for a few months in the summer, and I did some other things, like I needed to clear some of the forests out and do, like, maintain the land a bit. And I came back to it late summer because I remembered that it probably would be nice to get it fully watertight before the winter. So the windows had already been put in by then. Built a door out of refurbished wood, it's back here. Because the height of the door is a bit lower than standard, because that's how it has to be. Again, it follows the dimensions of the original extension, and they didn't have, when it was built originally, I don't think they had hardware stores that sold doors, so yeah, yeah, I made a wood. I took some of that refurbished planks that were in the roof and built a door. Put nice black cast iron hinges and door workings on it, and I put battening around the outside, and then put this standard style, Swedish style of like house paneling on the outside, and that took a long time. And again, I would not do that again without power tools. Circular saw and a nail gun would be amazing for that. I put my headphones on, I listened to the Gunslinger books on Audible, and yeah, it was nice, but it took a long time, especially working out how to do the eaves and stuff. Yeah, and then I put the roof metal plate on the roof and did the side overhangs, and it seems super watertight. Oh, I forgot to mention there was one leak, and that was when I was nailing the felt on. One of the tops of the nails bent over and left a little hole, and water dripped through that. So what I did is I went to a hardware store again and I got some tar style paint stuff, and I filled every nail hole with that, and now it's fine. I haven't had any leaks so far. So yeah, that's it took me months to get this up. I put laminate flooring in there now. The walls haven't been insulated or panelled on the inside, and there's an inside stud wall which will separate. This is going to be like a kitchen, well, like a dishwashing kitchen style area with a fridge and stuff in it, and then the next side will be a bathroom with a composting toilet from the shed, small hand sink, and a shower. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to keep all the water system that I'm going to build this year in this bit, so that I don't have to put any water in the main cabin itself. I know it doesn't look the same style at the moment, but we're going to take off the lime mortar on the outside of the cabin because it's hard to maintain, and it's hard to see what's happening to the wood underneath. There's some beams on the front that need to be fixed, and then the roof will also, well, first of all I'll put the same style paneling on the outside, and we're going to paint it red Swedish style with white trim, and then I'm going to put the same style roof paneling on top and fix the chimney, but that's things for this year. So yeah, it was a long project. It was the main thing I did. Unrealistically, I wanted to have the toilet and shower in there before my mum got here and stayed for the summer, but that didn't happen. I'd barely got the thing up by then. So that's something I learned, is to don't underestimate the time it takes to do these things. I do want to get running water in there, hot and cold, before this summer, but we'll see if that's a realistic estimate. So yeah, that's the history of this one. To do with this is we need to insulate the inside, put some wood paneling on the inside, run the pipes for the water system, put in a little bit more electricity, or run more DC wires, more lighting, and then I want to put the composting toilet in, and I'm going to have like a solar powered fan, as well as painting the top of the pipe black to try and get air circulating out without using any power, because the fan in the 12-volt toilet takes up a lot of power. So yeah, so that's where we are. So this is the inside of the mudroom. We're in the kitchen at the moment. This is the iron stove and whatnot, and then the door goes straight, and this used to be straight to the outside of the cabin, as in this was the elements, but now we can go in here. You can see it's very basic at the moment. The plan is to finish this before the summer. There's a stud wall here. This is going to be a door, and then in here will be, in the shower in the back, small sink, and then all the water will come in and out. The drainage will come in and out from this bit, and then the composting toilet down here. And then this area, which this is the door for the pantry, I think. This is going to be, at the moment we're using it for washing up and sort of like miscellaneous stuff, but it's going to have a proper sink. And then I think a 2-burner gas stove, because I'm going to get propane and wire propane in. Then underneath we'll have a better, more efficient DC fridge, maybe a washing machine. So yeah, quite a bit to do in here. We need to insulate it. We need to get the wires properly put in the walls. I'm going to put wood paneling on the outside, like Swedish style wood paneling. Put a door in there. Put good ventilation in there. You can see there's already laminate floor. So I've done the laminate floor. There's a couple of gaps near the beams here that need to be fixed, but it's already been laminated. The floor's already been laminated. Insulation, paneling, roof paneling on the inside, and then we're good. Oh yeah, and then here's this is now the door to the elements, so it unlocks. Wesley, stand there. Stand there. You can see it goes out like that.